Good evening, everybody, and thanks, Amy, for that intro. It's a real privilege to speak tonight at the British Library. It's a real iconic institution, and I hope I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes on my background, my business, and probably what got me there, and mistakes and things I've learned. So it's hopefully of value to you. As Amy said, my name's Rick Lowe. I'm a co-founder of a company called Brands In Limited. It's about 7 or 8 years old. But perhaps before I tell you a bit about that, I should tell you a bit about my journey and how I started as an entrepreneur, because I was quite a late entrepreneur. I was 37 years old when I started my own business. I went to university to do an engineering degree, electronic engineering. Then I worked in the city in a technical role, which I wasn't very good at. And then I got into sales, and I got very good at it. By like any muscle, if you exercise it and you practice it, it gets better. And that business did very well. But I was a corporate sales. I was employed, and I knew that I wanted to do something on my own, and I knew I wanted to do something courageous and to get out there and define my own destiny, let's say. So I wasn't really a young entrepreneur. I'd started, and like all of us, you've got to start and learn the hard way, as knocks and bruises along that journey. So in terms of what in terms of what Brands In does, just to give you a bit of perspective, we take very large licensed IP like Disney or entertainment, Warner Brothers, music, and we put it onto clothes. And we make that all out of the UK, or most all of it, all made in a vertical setup we've got in London. So we take a license from Mickey Mouse or Friends or Pink Floyd, and then we do a fashion range, and it's mainly jersey products. So it's T-shirts, which is what we call fast fashion, essentially. And as I said, that business is probably 7 or 8 years old now, and it's just getting some growth and real momentum. And we sell worldwide online, but we also sell to most of the high street names Amy alluded to before. And I think the interesting thing is that as we've expanded, we've gone into different categories. So we've gone into things like drinks bottles, accessories, caps, headwear, whatever you name it, anything we can leverage our license with, that's what we've done. And of course, as fast fashion grows, new items, or if it's crop tops or leggings or tie-dye T-shirts, we've got to be on the move to do that. And we generally respond to an order in about 5 days to 10 days. So if New Look hit us with an order today, that will be in store next week. All out of London. So that kind of, let's say, environmental trend is gaining momentum, and we're right on the forefront of that. These are some of the people who like to wear retro, iconic IP. You'll know most of those celebrities, but iconic IP never really goes out of fashion. Mickey Mouse can be, on a £700 T-shirt or a £7 T-shirt. There's ways we can move it and change it to make it relevant. It never really goes away. With music, it's most of the older classic rock acts and hip-hop acts that stay in fashion. We've sold more AC/DC shirts than I knew there were AC/DC fans, but it's still on trend. It still sells. So does Bowie. So does Pink Floyd. So it's got a global appeal. And it's cool, which is why people wear it. I think what's important, though, is that's not where it started. My journey started here. Oh, actually, no, let me just tell you about the retailers. The retailers we deal with, you might well know. So Amazon, ASOS, Next, do a lot with Topshop, Topman. Boohoo's a big growing account for us. Primark, Urban Outfitters. We do a lot with others, but they're kind of our main brick and mortar and online retailers we use. But as I was saying, my journey started on Portobello Road, and I'd met a guy in a nightclub. There's always a story attached to things in life, and he had an idea about Space Invaders T-shirts and putting them on T-shirts and selling them. Well, I'd never played a video game in my life, still haven't. But I thought it was a good idea. So we made some T-shirts, we went to Portobello Market, we got a stand, and we sold one T-shirt all day. Now, most people would have given up and just thought it's a waste of time, shouldn't really do this. But no, we carried on, and really what that business started with is me with a wheelie bag going up and down the high streets in the UK, knocking on fashion retailers' doors. That's when there used to be independent stores, there aren't anymore, of course. and trying to sell the T-shirts. And we grew that brand, and we made all the mistakes possible, hired the wrong people, bought the wrong stock, ran out of money, etc., etc., etc. But one of the things it teaches you when you're starting your business is you've got to learn how all your business works, and you've got to do things you don't like doing, and you've got to find people quickly who are good at what you're not good at to grow your business. And there's a very interesting YouTube talk that the head of Apple did, and what he said everything in life has got 3 points connected to it. So whenever a lot of the things I do today, the skills I learned right back at the start of my business. So for any of you that's going through a growth curve, whatever you're doing today will be of value. You can definitely confirm that. One of the things I thought I'd leave you with really is, because we were talking earlier about kind of what you learn on your journey, and there's 3 real game changers that I keep close to me that I've learned. And the first one is really in business, nowadays you've got to be fearless. Fearless isn't really lack of fear, it's putting it to good use and using it to your advantage. But really fearlessness means confidence. When you're out there with your business, if you're really locked into it and you do it with conviction, you will naturally get doors open and you'll attract people to you. So I think fearlessness is one of the key things I've learned. The next one is focus, because there's so many interruptions in our day now. You know, social media, text messages, WhatsApp, whatever it is in business, it's very difficult. But you know, what you focus on grows, and I think if you've got a clear plan and a clear vision, sticking to it, you know, there's only 24 hours in a day. No one as clever as Mark Zuckerberg might be, no one's invented more than 24 hours in a day. So how you use it is invaluable to growing your business. And the last one's flexible, because the only constant is change. That's what Einstein said. And whatever happens tomorrow, you know, I probably know how my morning's going to go, but I guarantee I don't know how my afternoon's going to go yet, but I'll find out tomorrow morning. So you've got to remain flexible. You've got to embrace it, because it's not going to go away. It's a bit like a jumbo jet taking off in New York, traveling to London. It knows where it's going, but it might have to go up 2,000 feet to get out of a storm, or, you know, bank left, bank right, but eventually it'll land at Heathrow. And that's really what a modern day business is like. So that's a little bit about me, about my business. Hope that's been useful. So for any of you who are out there starting your own business or on that journey, well done. It's a courageous thing to do. So remember to keep focused and keep flexible and be fearless in what you do. Thank you.
Rick, really love those 3 points. I love when things come in threes, because you can easily remember them. And I'm wondering if you could give us an example, really, from your own experience of when you've had to be fearless, when you've had to focus, and when you've had to be flexible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I think fearlessness really comes from confidence. I think if you're really locked into your business and you do it with conviction, your self-belief will translate to fearlessness. And that's what people buy in any situation, commercial situation. Is this person sitting in front of me really, you know, is he in his business for himself and everybody else, or is he just doing it because he thinks it's a good idea?
Yeah.
So I think that's the crucial thing.
Yeah. Has there been a moment in your business, you know, running your business, where you felt like, oh, you know, the fear's creeping in, or my confidence is knocked a bit, but you had to push through?
Yeah, I think when you're dealing with big retailers, you've probably, when you start, got to appear bigger than you are. So you've got to big yourself up, you know. But I think providing you're credible, you'll get away with it. But you've got to, you know, it's a game really, that whole, you know, romance of a relationship with a retailer or a customer for all of us, and people will read that naturally.
So it sounds like holding your nerve is
That's
also
one way
really
of putting it.
And what about flexibility? I find this hugely important in the role that I do, and particularly with you know, let's say the political and economic situation at the moment, there's more question marks than there ever have been. How have you? How's that panned out for you on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is we live in an incredibly fast world now, and people make decisions more quickly. They don't spend so much time deliberating over things. And I think from my business with retail, if you could be the best things in sliced bread selling, but the minute your product stops, you're out the door.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to always think ahead, but probably not too far ahead, because you really haven't got control. All you've really got is today and what you can do today to push that boulder a bit further up the mountain.
I was particularly interested in the comment you made about finding people that do things well that you are not good at. But it's quite difficult to admit sometimes that you're not good at something. Because we all want, especially, if you're running your own business, you want to be able to feel like, oh, I can turn my hand to this, I can do this, I can do that. How do you identify and admit to yourself that maybe, I'm not so good at accounts, or maybe I should hand the Twitter account over to someone else?
I think that's a really simple answer. You're generally good at things you like. That's why you're good at it, because you like doing it, so you do more of it. But part of that problem, we're experiencing this in our business with growth, is you need to get the right people to move along the growth curve at the right time together with you, and that includes yourself. So if I'm doing the same thing today as I was a year ago, the chances are the business isn't going to grow.
Yeah.
So you've got to be very brutal with yourself.
That can be
not
tough.
always easy.
Yeah. And how do you remember to be kind to yourself as well? If you do have challenges and make mistakes along the way.
I think that's part of the journey, isn't it? I mean, I think the challenge is giving yourself recognition and a pat on the back, which you're generally the last person to do that to yourself,
Yeah.
But look, I mean, it's interesting just telling that story there. It did start on Portobello Road. I wouldn't have thought I'd be talking at the British Library years later. But and there's another mountain to climb, because there's always someone bigger and better doing something you want to get to. That's the challenge of being an entrepreneur. It's that constant frustration, but that's what drives you.
Yeah. It's also very exciting, like you say. Well, thank you very much, Rick. That's brilliant. Let's hear it for Rick Lowe.